Welcome. Today we have very special guest Dr. Leila Kazim. She is manager, staff engagement and well-being. She is also a doctor of family medicine and a well-known person in well-being in GCC, especially for high-stake environment like oil and gas. So let's welcome Dr. Leila. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's such a pleasure to have you on my podcast.
It is the feeling is mutual. And thank you for having me today on your podcast. It was very nice of you to introduce me.
Thank you. When we were discussing, we are connected for quite some time, and like I'm following your journey on social media, especially on LinkedIn. So I have seen that your leadership style is very unique. It doesn't talk about only the well-being aspect. It talks about lot of things, like lot of leadership aspect is there. So I'm very curious to know that how did you learn these leadership skill, and especially in your early childhood? Because I heard that your father had a very great influence on your leadership style. So if you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Actually, my journey started way back when it comes to leadership. My dad is a self-made man. And he always taught us about, having the hardships basically are what forms us as leaders. So in the old days, my dad was schooled in Kuwait. They had no education here at that time in UAE. And my dad mentioned to me that his dad had a car, but never took him to school. And he had to walk in the hot sand and in the hot sun to go and come back from school. And those were the things that formed what my dad is today. And he really stressed about it's the challenges that you face during your upbringing that actually forms who you are. So my father believed in tough empathy, and he never gave us what we wanted, but what we needed. Yeah. And I practiced the same advice that my dad has, shared with us. My mom, on the other hand, she always reinforced independence. She's like, don't wait for someone to do it. You do it yourself.
I like this tough empathy and like being kind at the same time. That's so beautiful. Like mom and dad, they both are giving the best possible things. Father is giving the tough empathy and mom is giving the inspiration and kindness. That's so beautiful, and we can definitely see that impact on your leadership style.
Yeah, that shaped my core as a leader, balancing the kindness with high expectations. That mindset actually helped me thrive in a male dominant industry like the healthcare and energy, where the initiatives, grit and emotional intelligence is what is non-negotiable.
Exactly. Or especially as you mentioned, that high stake environment where there is no scope of any mistake. Like the small mistake can have a bigger implication. So that time having emotional intelligence is so important.
Over time, my leadership has evolved to become more inclusive, listening led, and data informed. But that early foundation of accountability and resilience still is what guides me today in everyday decisions.
And that's interesting to know that when you're talking about the well-being, you're talking about the data-driven and the other aspects as well, emotional intelligence, and you yourself are like the medical doctor. So that's the reason I think, because as I mentioned, I'm following your journey for really long time. That stands out, and you are a well-known person in GCC for well-being. I think these all things have contributed in your leadership style. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So, transiting from family medicine to a high stake environment of the employee engagement and staff engagement for well being, I'm sure it must have been little challenging. So, would you like to share about that?
When I practiced family medicine, I noticed there's a troubling pattern. Many of the workers that we cleared fit to work returned back several months later with chronic health conditions like diabetes and hypertension. And I realized that the clinical treatment wasn't enough. We needed to get down to the root cause of the problem. And the issues were not, very simple. It was mainly the environment, the social aspects, and also about the system, basically. Transitioning into the occupational health and into their living spaces gave me another reality to their living. And this opened my eyes to the broader question, how come these things have not been addressed by physicians generally? So until we could actually get down to the root cause and ask the individuals about where they're living, what kind of food are they taking, what kind of stress loads do they partake. This actually has huge impact on their overall well-being and health outcome.
Exactly. And I think very rarely it happens when we talk about the well being, we only talk about the medical aspect of it or the like they're taking care of the lifestyle. But you are creating a holistic well being program and like talking about the what kind of emotions they are having, what kind of food they are having, what kind of environment they live into, and what kind of medication and what kind of work environment they are like having, all these things. And I think all this holistic approach is required for the well-being, and your work is definitely creating a new roadmap, new path for upcoming well-being experts to walk through it and have a holistic view rather than just focusing on the one thing. That is so beautiful. And you have worked really long for like from both the aspects as a doctor and as a well-being expert. And what is, I'm so curious to know now, what is the response of employees when they see a different side of well-being and they see that somebody is really taking care of them, not only about the medical part, but other things also. What is your response? Do you hear
It was
frequently?
strange for me in the beginning. I mean, when the employees came to me, I remember I was asking them feedback and they're like, why do you want our feedback? And I said, because I'd like to know what the problems are. They're like, it's not no use because but we've done feedbacks before and there's no changes has ever happened taking those feedbacks. So I'm like, I will make sure that those changes happen. So it took a lot of time to build trust with the employees. I told them I will do my best and what is it that you needed me to do. So the small things that I could act upon immediately to gain that trust from the employee was important for me. It was very, very weird in the beginning. And they're like, you won't do it. You can't do it. And I'm like, watch me, I'll do it. I'll make the changes that you want. I have a very supporting line manager. And it's also through his vision and mission that I'm able today to create those programs without any restrictions, without any holdback from his side. And so that's it. That was very, very difficult journey in the beginning. And I was thinking, how can I gain the trust of the employees? But this opened doors for me to understand their world, how they live. And then me coming down to that level. And then, of course, I'm not from the same background.
Yeah.
So then there's a lot of things where they, it's like you don't know what we go through. We don't have the same cultural background. But then I try to find what the similarities are between us. And I know what you go through. I might not feel exactly, but I've been down that line. I've also been abroad. I studied abroad. And I tell them that I was alone for 6 years. I had not many friend companies and so on. So I can relate to the experience of you not having the family around. And so trying to, find similarities to bring us. So developing this trust along those lines helped me to achieve what I have achieved today.
Yeah. And this is so important. Like you mentioned, two beautiful things. The first, which caught my attention, is building the trust, because neuroscience also says that we look for two things to build a relationship: capability and trust. But for human brain, trust is the most important thing. Like we can work with little less capable person, but if the trust is there, that's the most important thing. And you have invested really good time and energy to build that trust before even providing any services to them. This is a very important lesson for all business leaders. And the second thing which I like the most about your talk is having that ecosystem to build that new leaders. Like you mentioned that your line manager is very supportive. Now without having that ecosystem where everybody has a single goal, it becomes difficult to achieve it. So this is something very important. I think all business owners and leaders can take this key message from this conversation. This is beautiful. I love these two things.
Thank you. Yes, that was great.
Most business struggle with having the showing the ROI for well-being initiatives, and I've seen that you have done it in a very short period of time. So I think that learning will be very helpful to all business leaders. So can you please share that?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to absenteeism, there's more to that. It's not just we are, checking how many reduced sick leaves or, days off that are taken by the employees, but there's more to it. It's about reduced casualties when they have, high risk jobs or they have, a lot of stress on their plate. So it's reduced casualties, it's increased performance. And we've been monitoring that for some time now and noticed that the engagement scores have been increasing. So again, going back to trust, it was very important for them to actually come to our sessions and feel that this literally is an open space. We always tell them, like, whatever happens here would stay here, and you're free to share your experiences. And if you have difficulties, we're open for that as well. So not just work related, but even personal. And so monitoring those gave us an idea that this is working. And when we did go back, I mean, I'm still, in the process of checking out the data and seeing how many sick days have been taken off and how much does that translate into money, because that money is important for us, right? Yeah. The more we save, the more we are able to invest in them. So that's about it. That's it's not just absenteeism. There's more to that behind the picture that people are looking at. If you can perform better, you wouldn't need, even people complain of having lack of manpower, but then if you have good performers, that covers that part. So it does have a toll on them, but then looking into their scheduling, making sure that they've gotten the appropriate numbers days off to recover from that stress, you notice that they come back more resilient.
Yeah. That's right. You mentioned previously about building that trust when people said that giving the feedback is of no use because you will not do anything, and you build that trust. And I think that trust has given the confidence in them to perform much better. So I think that also contributes to having a better ROI for the well-being initiatives. And it's so nice to know that you are using the data-driven initiative for the well-being. And so not only like the rosy picture and abstract talk, but the ground reality you are showing with numbers and graph and how it is impacting the bottom line. I think that becomes much easier to get the budget approval for well-being initiatives.
Yeah, this will be my second year. This is the first year that I had a budget approved, which was great. I had challenging times. That's why I really respected the few vendors that came on board, saw my mission, my vision, and actually supported me, knowing that I didn't know where I had to start from. But and that trust that, when I had shown the employees that I could, do something, then they felt now more safe. So that's why the engagement scores increased. They attend my sessions. They come in and say, Doc, we need this to be changed. Can you please implement this? And I'm open for, the ideas that they'd like to share. So I tell them, if you're happy to give some initiatives, you think that would improve the situation where you're living at, we're here to listen to you. And I've seen them come more often than usual and approach us with their problems than they used to in the beginning. They were very, very conservative, didn't want to share. They felt the fear of the judgment of the other gender. For example, we had men's session. That's why I decided to separate the sessions, men and women. Okay. Not because of other reasons, but because we didn't want other opposite genders to criticize or override what. So give them that safe space to speak up and understand the reality of everyone faces similar problems.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Like, you're understanding their side of story and then providing that safe space. I think this is very important point, not only for the well-being, but all aspects of business. And until that safe environment is there, people will not open up and share their ideas. And I'm sure employees will be very happy to share ideas with you and their feedback, because now they know that you get things done. And I always say that leadership is all about getting things done. No excuses, just somehow you get things done. And you have shown that in action. That's beautiful.
It is.
So based on your experience, what is the biggest myth among the well-being sector within all industries that's there, which is preventing people from going to a deeper level and making a real impact and not having only the superficial, just show off thing?
Okay, the biggest myth is that, if we invest in the blue collars, it's a waste of our money. Most of them are just going to leave. In reality, if we invest in the right, right employees, those I found that spend over a decade with us are worth investing in. Those are the employees that see changes, if it's just simply as changed nutrition, provide them the mental health support that they need. They actually come back more resilient, better health, and they're not. It just doesn't end there. They are then become advocates for other members of their team, as a sample or an example rather of how wellness impacts them at a holistic level. And this then ripples down to the whole team. So they become those advocates, which saves me a lot of a lot of work. They see it in their own employees. They have improved health, improved performances, and this actually starts, rippling down. And I see those improvements at the end.
That's so wonderful, because most industries are having blue collar workers, and I have rarely seen they're investing time and energy in improving their well-being. and you are showing that how investing in them has a lot of ROI than what people usually think about. And I like this thing that you're creating new leaders for well-being. So you're not only doing things, but making the new torch bearers for that and creating new leaders within camp and within at the ground level. So they can be talking about it rather than you going and talking to everyone. That's beautiful. I think that's one quality of leaders, that they create new leaders. They don't just sit like a lonely wolf and be owning everything. That's wonderful. I think that's one message all businesses can take from this conversation for sure.
That's true. To be honest, I was very, very unsure of what I was doing. But when I saw the impact, just giving a talk and explaining things and giving priority to those who had spent time at the company, that really opened my eyes. Like, they could now pass the message on my behalf. They show they show up as an example, and then they carry that, and that actually has huge impact on the return of investment on long term.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember one of the companies I work with for the well-being initiative, as you mentioned earlier, they connected the emotional intelligence aspect as well. So on their PEP, they put a socket that pocket was there on which the family photo can be put, and the message was written: "You have to take care of yourself because of them." And drastically, the incident rate has reduced. Like they were having more incidents, and after they put that family photo, it reduced because people started taking care of themselves. They were more emotionally aware about themselves and people around them. So these small things sometimes have a big impact. We don't realize that, like how it's going to impact.
That's very true, and this is interesting to hear. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't think twice, but that, yeah, definitely. I mean, people see that on their uniform. It's like we need to also give them respect as well, because they also belong somewhere, and they've sacrificed their time to support, the society and do things. So that's great. That's great initiative. Yeah.
And they showed huge, like within 1 year, they showed that how many the accidents, the secluded places they were left, lot of injuries were reduced. So there was a huge impact, and that definitely impacted the bottom line of the business, because they don't have the insurance premium went down, the sick leaves were less. So a lot of impact was there in that one. As you mentioned earlier that your father had great influence on your leadership style, and your mom as well. And now you yourself are a well-known leader in GCC in well-being industry. So how do you nurture these leadership skills in your kids?
With regards to my children, I give my children responsibility, a lot of responsibility. Some of them are quite tough, and I don't expect them to master it from the beginning, but giving them that chance to try. This is the same thing I do with my team as well. Giving them a task to do, knowing that it's going to be very, very challenging. But then that's where it comes in. We understand how tough empathy should work, being there for them, but then having high expectations, being kind, understanding that it might not work out, but giving them that chance. So they build that self-confidence in themselves. So I do that to my children. And on personal note, my son, who's now 17, is a brilliant father. He can literally look after the children if I have to leave out for anything. He takes full responsibility. And it's surprising for children at that age to hold such, strong values, in the sense that he has no fear. I can look after mom. You just take your holiday if you need to. I'm here to look after. I'll do everything. I'll make sure the kids are taken to school and fed and everything. So that's something I've instilled with them from a young age. And many people say, don't be so brutal to your kids. Don't be so hard on them. They're just children. I said, yes, but one day they'll have to be responsible for such things. Yeah. Giving that responsibility to them from young age really helped them to develop into who they are today.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I love this one, tough empathy. Like I'm going to quote this in this podcast and everywhere as well with your name. Tough empathy is such a beautiful thing. And as you mentioned, that tough upbringing leads to tough upbringing makes them a great leader eventually. Like most of the time, we as a parent, we want to give all comfort to our kids. But I like this concept of tough empathy. I'm going to use it to my daughter as well.
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
And it's so beautiful that usually like girls, the elder sisters do take care, but your son is taking care of kids, and he is giving you that space to grow as a leader, and not looking at you only as a mother, but he sees you as a leader as well. This is so beautiful. I love this one. Like I keep telling my daughter that I'm your mom, but that's just one part of my life. I have my own life to live and I have a lot of things to do. And now she's 13 plus. So I said, now you are independent. You can do things by yourself. You call me when you need me. Otherwise, you have to be on your own.
But that's the way to go, yeah?
Yeah.
Give them that full responsibility. Not that you're
That's
there,
right.
you're just a phone call away or a message away, but then
That's right.
having them have that full independence, and then
Exactly.
that builds them. So tomorrow they know they have
Yeah.
the confidence to step forward when it's needed.
That's right. That's right. And they also need to understand that I sometimes say very bluntly, and I say that I'm not born just to be your mom. You are just part of it, but I'm born to do many other bigger things in my life. And sometimes I ask her, if you are a mom and your child asks this thing at the age of 13, would you do it or ask him or her to do it by themselves? So she gets answer by herself that will she not have that space for herself? So yeah, it is very important. And I think leadership is something it is not like a maths formula or physics thing that you read and you understand.
Yes.
It has to go inside. We have to imbibe it, then only it starts coming out.
That's true.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as moms, we have difficult times, and the way also, to manage things is to delegate.
Yeah.
And this is one way I delegate a lot of the tasks to the children to, give me a chance to have my rest and to recuperate.
That's right. That's right. And when you see that, when they see you as a role model, as a leader, then they will learn automatically those skills. We don't have to teach them and put for them any leadership program. They are day in and day out, they're seeing it their home itself. That how my mom is managing her work, her like research work, her family, everything she's managing so well. I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I am same with you. I'm the same as well.
Would you like to give some message to our business leaders with your experience?
So one advice I'd like to give to leaders is try to be more listening, giving people chance to speak, and then asking them what they want and then acting upon it. That's the most important thing I would like to advise most leaders. A lot of times we tend to assume that we know everything. Given the time, that the experience that we have and the knowledge that we have, sometimes we tend to judge. But then we should leave room for people to come and speak up, because there's always something you can always learn.
Yeah.
Especially now when I'm working with my team, I understand there's a lot of things, especially when it comes to operations and how the workers or the employees function. I don't have insight on that, and I rely a lot on my team members to enlighten me and to provide the information to me. So I need to humble myself to understand the situation at a better, get a better hand of how I can support the employees. So if I don't listen to the team members giving in or the employees themselves, then I would not be able to succeed in supporting them on long term. So this is the most important, is listening to them, giving them safe space to speak, and being non-judgmental.
Exactly. So beautiful. And 3 things I have noted down is that building the trust, tough empathy, my favorite word from this conversation, and listening. I think these are 3 most important skills for any business leader. Thank you so much for your time. I really love this conversation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Neetu, and it was a pleasure to be on today's podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.